Hey, it's Jason from Pro Guitar Studio. Welcome back. Today I decided to just do a fun riff focusing on using the high open E string, so the high E, with some triads in the key of E major. Now, there's a whole range of triads you could do here, but I chose 3 different shapes. Okay, so I started off with this little arpeggio riff, and the idea here was playing an E major 7 chord. So thinking of this chord. So what I did is I did the 6th fret on the D string, 4th fret on the G string, 4th fret on the B string, and then the open E. So it's a little awkward to play, and how I did that is I used my ring and I stretched those fingers out, just because the next chord I use my ring finger as well. But you might find it easier to do pinky and your fingers like that. So this is definitely not an easy chord, okay? So as you go through this, and this one's awkward, don't worry, I'm gonna show you some other shapes you can play with. And so what I did here is I did this shape, and in the background I'm playing like an E major chord. And so I did this, and I'm playing string number 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's our starting point. So this riff. And the next chord I had in mind, I was playing an F sharp minor. So I went to this triad, which is an F sharp minor, 7th fret on the D string, 6th fret on the G, and 7th fret on the B with the open E string as well. So we're using that throughout, okay? And actually, I kept my ring finger there. So I went from here, ring, middle, pinky, just for the sake of it being easy to switch. And then I went to a G sharp minor. So I just took that same shape. I went 2 frets higher. So 9, 8, 9, 0, right? And then I came back. So in terms of picking, if you start off with this, we have the D string, right? So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So after the first 4 eighth notes, the last 3 are on the upbeat, okay? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it stays the same way throughout. I keep switching my fingers. So you'll find if you switch to this fingering here, to get back to that is quite awkward. That's the only reason I did this, because otherwise it's not clean to get back. But you can use this, no problem. Like, you can try that and then switching to that. You're keeping your first finger on the string. I just find it harder to switch back there. All right, so that's our starting points of that. So I do it twice. Now on the 3rd time through, I switch it up. So I basically go to the same shape we were already doing, which is 9, 8, 9, 0. But instead of thinking of this as a G sharp minor, I'm using this like an E major 7, just to give you a visual, right? So the same notes that could comprise G sharp minor as a triad, the G sharp minor triad fits within the E major 7 chord as well. Okay, so because the E major 7 is a 4-note chord, if we get rid of the root note in this shape here, basically we have an E major 7, and you include this here, you have your root note, right? So that's your full chord. Same here. All right, now if we play the G sharp minor with an E, it doesn't sound like it would work nicely, right? So we have a G sharp minor. If you add an E note, it can sound a little bit dissonant, like a flat 6, but it just sounds really nice because we're in the key of E, right? So that note sort of droning or pedaling in the background. It works because it resolves back. Now when we go to the E major 7 3rd time around, this shape here, it should be this, right? And then I go 2 frets higher, and I'm going to play an F sharp minor triad on strings 2, 3, and 4. So 11, 11, 10. Again, using the open E string. And then 2 frets higher for the G sharp minor. Come back. So I did. Okay, and then fourth time, just back to your original. So two times is the original riff. Now you'll notice myself, I always revert back to using the pinky. I have to consciously think of using my ring finger to get that in there. It's a big stretch. All right, now to start the solo off, I just went to an E major triad, fret number 14, 13, 12 on the same three strings, strings 2, 3, and 4. And I'm just soloing through the E major pentatonic. It's all improvised there. Now, if you look at this, that's sort of cool to learn that phrase, but the significance here is we can look at the triads in the key of E major. So what I played there was just only two shapes, right? I had two shapes we're playing through. But I can show you here, if you know the chords in the key of E, if you do the triads on strings 2, 3, and 4, you can do the same idea here. So you can play around with that. So the E down here, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A, B, C sharp minor. Now we have the diminished chord, right? So D sharp diminish. This one's awkward, sorry. And there's inversions all throughout too. So that's just the first spot. We could also go down over here. We could also do this. That's a little harder up there. It's too high. So those shapes there, a little awkward. I have to work on that a little bit here with you. Now down to A here. But you can play around with those and make up your own progressions, your own ideas with that drone tone, right? So you could do, for example, the A, B, that's just one shape there. So there's countless ideas you can get from this. A lot of fun to sort of work with and play through. And I think it's a great songwriting tool just to have that up your sleeve when you want to use a drone tone. So play with that. For any student here, I'm going to write out those triads just so you can see them. So the triads in the key of E on strings 2, 3, and 4. You'll see that on the student page, as well as the riff that we played here. So definitely challenging, a lot of fun. But if you want to explore this, I think that's more, where this is very useful, is exploring those triads with that drone tone, having fun with it. And keep in mind, if we're trying to name the chords with that drone tone in there, the names will change. So it won't just be like E, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, but I'll just use those standard chord names so you understand where it's coming from in the key, right? So it'll make a little more sense. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe for more videos like this each week, and I will see you soon.